All right, let's talk LoRaWAN. You know, the tech that connects all those tiny, low-power gadgets across entire cities. It's fascinating stuff, but learning it can feel impossible without a massive budget. So how do you actually master a network you can't really afford to build yourself?
And this is the big hurdle, right? It's the thing that stops so many of us. You're completely captivated by how these citywide networks operate, but it's not like you can just, build one in your garage to practice. It feels like you're stuck at the starting line.
So, first things first, what is LoRaWAN? Well, at its core, it's a protocol that lets these little low-power things, we call them end devices, send tiny bits of data over huge distances to a gateway. That gateway then zips the data over to a central network server, which is basically the brain of the whole operation. Simple idea, right? But in the real world, unbelievably complex.
Exactly. I mean, knowing the definition is one thing, but truly understanding how it all behaves with thousands of devices, all the interference, and ever-changing conditions, that's a whole different ballgame. How do you get that kind of hands-on feel for it?
Well, the answer is simulation, specifically the official LoRaWAN module for NS3. And what's absolutely brilliant about it is that it's not just a random collection of tools. No, it's a deliberately designed learning path. Think of it like a curriculum that guides you from the absolute basics to complex network analysis, and you can do it all right from your own computer. I like to think of it as a learning ladder, and we're about to climb it together. We're going to start with the most basic piece, a single device talking to a single gateway. Then, we'll build that out into a full realistic network. And finally, we'll get into the really cool stuff, the advanced tools you need for serious analysis. So step 1, the simple link. Look, before you can conduct a whole symphony, you have to understand how a single note sounds. We need to isolate the most fundamental piece of this entire puzzle, how one device actually communicates with one gateway. The very first script you'll encounter is simple-network-example.cc, and it's basically the hello world of LoRaWAN. Its entire job is to strip everything else away and focus on that one core interaction. This is where you learn about the LoRa signal itself, how things like spreading factors, which are just a fancy way of saying the trade-off between range and data speed, actually affect your connection. It's the absolute basics of getting a packet from point A to point B. And the beauty of this first step is just how simple it is. The setup, the topology is just one device, one radio link, and one gateway. That's it. By really getting a handle on this single connection, you're building the foundation for everything else that's going to come. Okay, you with me? Once that basic link makes sense, we're ready for step 2. Now we move from just a simple connection to what looks like a fully managed, intelligent network.
The next example, network-server-example.cc, introduces the absolute most critical piece of a real LoRaWAN setup, the network server. This is the brain I was talking about. It's not just passively receiving data, it's actively processing it, managing all the devices, and deciding what to do next. This script models that entire end-to-end data flow.
And you can literally see the jump in complexity right here in the topology. We've now added an IP backbone and the network server. And this is so important because it models the full journey of your data, from the wireless LoRa signal onto a standard internet backbone, and finally to the server that's making all the decisions. We're not just sending a signal anymore, we are managing a network. But let's be real, a network isn't just one device. It's hundreds, maybe thousands. And that's where the complete network example comes in. This is where things get really, really powerful. It simulates a full-scale network with tons of devices and multiple gateways, all chattering away at the same time. This is where you can start asking the big questions about scalability, about what happens when data packets collide, and how the whole system behaves under heavy load. And just look at the topology. It totally reflects that leap in complexity. We've now got a whole crowd of end devices, all competing for the same airtime, all sending their data up to multiple gateways. This simulation is starting to look a lot like what a real-world smart city deployment would actually be dealing with. So once you understand how a full-blown network operates, you can climb to the final step on our ladder. This is where we start asking the really tough questions and using advanced tools to optimize the heck out of our network's performance. The final rung of this ladder gives you a whole suite of specialized tools. You want to see how adaptive data rate can save precious battery life? Bam, there's a script for that. Need to model how often packets collide and get lost? The Aloha example? It's got you covered. Each one of these scripts is custom built to let you do a deep dive into one specific critical performance metric. Let's just compare 2 of them to see what I mean. The ADR example helps you answer the question,
How can my network automatically tweak device settings to get the best possible balance of range and power? Meanwhile, the energy model example answers a totally different but just as important question. Okay, based on how often my devices talk, how long will their batteries actually last out in the field? See? Two different tools for two very critical IoT questions.
So there we go. We've climbed our ladder. We went from a single, simple link to a full network and all the way up to advanced analysis. Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the entire roadmap we've just walked.
And this table right here, it lays it all out. Seriously, think of this as your cheat sheet for this whole learning journey. Just look at the progression in that learning focus column. We start with the basic physical connection, then we move to the end-to-end data flow, then we tackle scalability and collisions, and finally, we dive into power analysis. It's a perfect step-by-step curriculum all laid out for you.
So the most important thing to take away from all this is that this isn't just a folder full of random files. It is a carefully, deliberately structured pathway. It's designed to build your intuition and expertise one step at a time. Each example builds on the one before it, giving you this comprehensive understanding of LoRaWAN from the ground up.
And this isn't just some academic exercise. Don't just take my word for it. The source material itself says that mastering these simulations is, and I'm quoting here, critical for real-world deployment planning. This is how you design successful, large-scale IoT systems before you spend a single dollar on actual hardware.
So there you have it. You have the map. You've seen the clear path from a simple hello to a complex citywide simulation. The only question left is, what part of the LoRaWAN world are you going to build and explore first?